Hello and welcome from me, Mark Osborne, the Senior News Editor at PV Tech. Today we're hosting a 30-minute PV Tech Talk product series webinar with a quick Q&A at the end with Andy Tang. He is the Overseas Sales Director of microinverter specialist Huawei New Energy. Andy Tang is a specialist within the inverter space with around 10 years of global sales experience and may be well known to some of you here on the webinar today. The webinar will focus on Huawei's new HY2000 Plus, which is the first microinverter which lowers the per watt cost close to that of conventional residential string inverters, and also includes some solutions to eliminate the risk of arcing and potential fires with conventional string inverter compared to conventional string inverters. So let's get started. Andy, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Mark, for your introduction always, and thank you for all of you guys join our webinar for Huawei new released 4-in-1 microinverter HY2000 Plus, which we believe is a great innovation that is changing the microinverter landscape from 1 kilowatt power output level to another new stage, 2 kilowatt. And first of all, for your better understanding of Huawei New Energy, let me introduce a little bit about the company's background. Huawei New Energy is one of the few microinverter specialists which are able to provide full range of microinverters covering 250 watt single unit to 2 kilowatt 4-in-1 units. The first prototype actually for Huawei microinverter was designed for single unit back into 2012, and the first 4-in-1 microinverter was designed in the year 2014, the same for 2-in-1 actually. And we started to launch our product line commercially in Chinese domestic market and also the global solar market since the year 2016. Today, I'm gonna share with you mainly something special about this new design microinverter, HY2000 Plus, compared with conventional microinverters, also the conventional string inverters. And I will explain why we strongly believe a microinverter with high power density will finally dominate the rooftop solar market as we think in the coming years because of its unique advantages. As all of us know, in order to invest the solar system, how to make a balance between safety, high yields, and also the low cost is always a major concern for all the investors. It's all about LCOE and also payback term of the solar system. And as we know, without the safety, it doesn't make sense to invest the solar system or even use the solar power for the people. So safety must be the first issue when we have to think about it for a new solar system. And obviously, a low yield solar system will also lengthen the payback term of the solar power investment, and high cost will increase the LCOE and payback term of the solar system. Here, let me give you more details about it. First, the safety issue. Since the year 2010, the firefighting authorities around Australia have attended more than 400 fires, which have been caused by solar system. But not limited to Australia, actually from time to time, we may find some reports for the solar fires from different parts of the world. And actually fire accidents could happen every week, even every day, when we consider the total solar installation in the world is already over 630 gigawatt before the end of 2019. And the figure has been increasing over 100 to 150 gigawatt every year. But more than 95% of them are installed with only high DC voltage conventional string inverters and century inverters, which has no proper DC protection actually for the DC side. The solar fires are usually caused by DC arc faults. There are about 26 connections in the DC installation of a 2 kilowatt rooftop solar system and about 50 connections on the 5 kilowatt solar system. So all of these connections on the rooftop undertaken by the installers could be the potential points of failure, as we think. And usually a solar system is designed to be working for 25 years at least, but without reliable protection of the DC side, each of the failure points could be a potential fire risks for the property and for the people. So according to the rule of NEC 2017 in the United States, inside the rate boundary of a solar system, DC voltage should be no more than 80 volts within 30 seconds of a rapid shutdown initiation. So here it's clear 80 volts is considered to be a relatively safe DC voltage for a solar system. Second is about the yield issue. Due to the limit of string level MPPT, solar panels are connected to a string inverter in series, and the weakest performing solar panels always lower the yields of other solar panels in the same string and finally impact the total power output of a solar system. And furthermore, in low light condition, the high startup voltage of a conventional string inverter is limited to get more yields. We have to wait for a good enough irradiation in the daylight with sunshine to start up the solar system by a string inverter. Third is about the cost issue. When we invest the solar system, we will also consider our budget for the hardware costs. For a conventional microinverter, obviously the biggest barrier for its market share growth is the high per watt cost compared with the conventional string inverter. So is there any solar inverter solution which may sort out all of the three issues as we mentioned? Huawei New Energy has been seeking the best balance between safety, yields, and cost for a solar system. Based on years of R&D experiences, also the existing Huawei microinverter experiences for single unit up to 2-in-1 and 4-in-1 units, Huawei engineers found out if we can achieve high power density on a microinverter, it would be the key to get rid of the disadvantage of existing conventional string inverters and also the conventional microinverters. The first, for an ideal solar inverter, the DC input voltage should be low enough to assure 100% safety for the fire accidents caused by DC arc faults. The second, on a limited installation space, we have to obtain as many as possible yields from every single solar panel, and the power output of each solar panel should not be impacted by any other poor performing panels. In this case, module level MPPT becomes a must. The third, big size means more materials and higher costs. So when we design a new solar inverter, we have to try our best to integrate less components on a smaller frame to make the inverter size compact enough and the inverter weight light enough. When we consider all of the three factors, it's clear here an ideal solar inverter should be an optimized design on an all-in-one device with high power density and module level solution. The new design HY2000 Plus microinverter is a perfect balance between safety, high use, and low cost. With maximum continuous output power 2050 watts, is the biggest power output record of microinverter in the history, and the maximum DC input voltage is only 60 volts, which is a safe module level voltage, and 100% assures the safety of installers on the rooftop and also the end users on the roof. The startup voltage of HY2000 Plus is only 22 volts, which makes the working time of solar system by earlier startup and later shutdown. 4 MPPT module level design enables each solar module combined with an independent MPPT, which leads to the best use of every single module and makes online monitoring platform more precise for us to see comprehensive module level data instead of traditional plant level data for conventional string inverter system. HY2000 Plus is also an all-in-one design microinverter with thickness only 42 millimeters. In addition to module level MPPT and the built-in Wi-Fi monitoring, daisy chain AC cable also related connectors are also integrated with the microinverter for plug-and-play installation. For the appearance, HY2000 Plus looks just like an iPad. Its major size is only 300 millimeters by 260 millimeters, which makes one person's installation much easier, and also improves its loading capacity for one pallet about 180 units and one 20-feet container about 2,000 units. This new device is the lightest and most compact 2 kilowatt solar inverter ever in the solar industry. The power density reaches over 554 watts per kilogram with maximum continuous output power 2050 watts and a net weight only 3.7 kilograms, which is a significant new record of power density for a microinverter. Not any of other existing microinverters in solar industry has ever reached power density higher than 450 watts per kilogram. When we compare with the safety between a residential string inverter and HY2000 plus microinverter, for a 2 kilowatt string inverter, its rated DC input voltage is usually higher than 200 volts, while for the microinverter, the maximum DC input voltage is no more than 60 volts. Furthermore, HY2000 Plus is designed with IP67 enclosure protection, which is a higher waterproof standard compared with only IP65 design for a string inverter. Regarding the safety, as we know, most of the fire accidents for PV plants were caused by DC side, especially DC arc faults. In an experiment for the comparison of a DC joint arc between a 2 kilowatt string inverter system and a microinverter system clearly shows how it happens. On the left side, we can see from the simulated string inverter system, when the distance between two DC cables increases, the DC joint arc occurs and becomes stronger and stronger gradually. And meanwhile, the measured value in the voltage meter also increases by over 200 volts. And DC joint arc will not extinguish itself. The temperature even reaches over 4,200 degrees centigrade, which is really high to cause fires easily. On the right side, in the simulated microinverter system, we can only see very weak DC arc sparks. Meanwhile, the measured voltage on the voltage meter is pretty low, and the DC joint arc will extinguish itself swiftly. So actually, DC arc faults only occurs on a solar system that has unprotected DC voltage circuits above approximately 80 volts. For a conventional string inverter system, solar panels are connected with inverter in series, which causes high DC voltage from 200 volts to 1000 volts. And while for the microinverter, all solar panels are connected with the grid in parallel, just like this. And DC input voltage is usually less than 40 volts, which is 100% safe for the fire risk caused by high voltage DC arc. So, generally speaking, the microinverter system with module level solution will eliminate the hidden danger caused by high DC voltage fundamentally. Due to the shadow of trees or chimney and sometimes the cloudy weather and birds droppings, in a string inverter system, the weakest performing solar panel will always cause a so-called cast effect or shortboard effect for the generation of the same solar stream, and yields of other solar panels will be impacted by the poor performing solar panels. But for a microinverter system, because each solar panel are connected to the microinverter in parallel, a poor performing solar panels will not impact others. So a solar system configured with module level MPPT in its 25 years or more than 25 years of lifetime will generate at least 5 to 30% more yields than the same size of solar system configured only with some string level MPPT. Usually for a 2 kilowatt string inverter with 1 MPPT, its startup voltage is 50 to 90 volts. And while for the 2 kilowatt HY2000 plus microinverter with 4 MPPT, its startup voltage is only 22 volts, which means the microinverter can work in a much lower light condition and start to work early in the morning and stop working later in the evening to get more yields. If we calculate about more than 25 years of lifetime of a solar system as we design, due to the longer working time, a microinverter system will generate much more power than the same size string inverter systems. Talking about module level monitoring, module level monitoring means the power output and the faulty information of each solar module is visual. And due to its module level MPPT design, HY2000 Plus is also able to provide the module level monitoring platform for both installers and end users. From a Huawei microinverter monitoring platform, we can view not only the daily, monthly, and yearly production for solar plants as the conventional solar systems, also the production data from every single panel. So all the modular failure will be shown in Huawei monitoring platform as red alerts. When some solar panel gets faulty, we'll find out it on our smartphone or PC immediately. And meanwhile, you may download the failure reports online for further diagnosis. So it's easy for installers to check the poor performing solar panel and analyze it remotely. There is no need anymore for installers to go to the site to see what happens to each solar panel, just like a conventional string inverter system. And the user experience of Huawei module-level monitoring system is no doubt much more user-friendly than a traditional plant-level monitoring. We offer a smart way for the more precise monitoring details actually for both installers and end users. Regarding the hardware monitoring devices, we offer several flexible options for various installation environments, such as a built-in Wi-Fi antenna, external data logger with Zigbee or with a PLC to achieve a smooth communication between the microinverter and the cloud. Based on the personal computer, besides the personal computer, for both Android users, also iOS users, HY 2000 Plus apps also available for downloads in both Google Play and App Store. Regardless of the module level MPP and module level monitoring or some good features like IPC7 and longer warranty, when we compare with only the hardware costs between a microinverter and the string inverter, usually the people will get a quick answer that the string inverter is much cheaper than the microinverter by per watt cost. But thanks to the high power density of HY 2000 Plus, now the gap between microinverter and the domestic string inverter for per watt cost has been made up. Even combined with the built-in Wi-Fi monitoring device, just like this, and integrated 2.4 meters AC cables and the connectors, we are able to lower the distribution price of HY 2000 Plus by per watt $10, which is another breakthrough, I think, for the solar industry compared with previously luxury cost of microinverters complained by some people or most people. And for a 2 kilowatt string inverter, the distribution price in the market is usually higher than $10 per watt. I would say HY 2000 Plus is the first microinverter which is price-wise very competitive when we compete with the domestic string inverter over 2 kilowatt. HY 2000 Plus is also the world's first microinverter commercially announced compatible with over 500 watt high-performing PV modules, just like a Tiger Pro released by Jinko and some others from LONGi or JA Solars, which makes the LCOE low again when we consider to invest the PV plant designed with MLPE solar solution with the big panels. And the module level MPPT and module level monitoring technology enables all Huawei microinverters featured with better yields and also the smart weight for the monitoring. To comply with the application of different sizes of PV modules, we customized 5 power output levels for the new launch Huawei 4-in-1 microinverter from the smallest size 1200, also 1300. We call it HY 1200, 1300 plus. Also, the bigger size like 1600 up to 2000 plus, the biggest size. So the new model is designed for a higher compatibility for the PV modules from 315 watt to 580 watt with VOC less than 60 volts, which is pretty low safe voltage for this input. Before the Q3, we will complete all the certification jobs for the major solar markets, and from July the 1st, HY 2000 Plus and related new models are available for mass production for global markets, including European market, North America, South America, Southeast Asia, and also Australia. And we are aiming to reach a targeted sales volume by 150 megawatt for the next 12 months and double the sales volume every 12 months for coming years. Talking about the R&D roadmap of Huawei microinverter, HY 2000 Plus is certainly not the end of our development. And next step, we are planning for bigger size microinverters, and hopefully a new record of power density will be made by Huawei R&D team again in the near future. So when we look at the global solar market, except for the United States, compared with string inverter market, the solar market share of microinverter is still very small. But there is no doubt that people are always looking for a safer, smarter, and more efficient solar solutions. The technical route change of utility scale PV plant for string inverter to replace central inverter will happen again for the microinverter to replace string inverter in the at least for the rooftop solar market, as we think in the coming years. Thanks to the Huawei HY 2000 Plus, Huawei engineers have sorted out a solar inverter designed for the combination of safety, high yields, and low cost. And it's the first time in the solar industry a small device integrates almost all advanced features you may imagine for an ideal solar inverter, such as safer DC input voltage and lower startup voltage, also the module level MPPT and the module level monitoring, and the built-in free data logger even with 25-year warranty. Last but not least, the cost is pretty competitive compared with some residential string inverters also. So it's deserved to try more applications also on the rooftops. All right, Mark, there's the presentation I want to share today here. So in next section, I'm glad to answer any questions about Huawei New Energy, also the Huawei microinverter.
Great, Andy. Thanks very much there. Actually, you gave us a lot of information in a very short time and did well on that, so thank you. Okay, everybody, we're now open for Q&A. And there's already here some really good questions, I think. Andy, just want to start with an easy one for you, a quick one perhaps that you can answer. So in respect to the module level monitoring software, how many languages is this actually being made available in?
Currently, we got 5 languages actually. I know we studied from the Chinese domestic market a few years ago. Of course, the Chinese language is the first language for us, and the second is the English, is for the global market. And we also have the version for the Spanish and just like Latin American and Spain. Regarding the Portuguese, it's mainly for the Brazil and Portugal. It's also available. And another language is for the a booming market for now is Polish. So currently in total we have 5, but for the next I think 1 or 2 months we will add at least 2 languages. One is German language, and another is French. Yeah. So as our plan, we are planning to add at least 10 languages on the platform for the monitoring. Right.
Another one here that seems to have cropped up quite a bit, and I think you'll like this one. So with the new HY2000 Plus, the form factor looks very, very slim. So there's people asking different issues, but maybe one of those could be, could there be a heat and reliability issues with such a slim format?
Yeah, that's a good question, actually. So some people may think it could be some conflicts between a small size and also the heat sink. That there's nothing to worry for us, because after a few hundred hours testing, so the heat sink is the performance for us is quite good. And we also do the agent testing for that. So before the shipment, we will make sure everything is compliant with all the certifications, also all the 25-year application on the rooftops. So the temperature, normally the range is from -40 to 65 degrees centigrade for the environment. So there's nothing to worry about this. If you compare with other solar inverters also, no matter from the front face or the back face, you will see there's some heat sink looks like a fin. The length of the fin is longer than the normal microinverters. It also added the airflow area for the inverter for the cooling. So there's something special according to the design, right? So we're pretty sure. So the heating performance will be very good for the rooftop, even in some thermal condition.
In relation to the fire hazard side, could you explain a little bit more about, obviously we've got to keep this short, but could you explain a little bit more about the technology behind the elimination of the fire hazard?
Sure. Safety always is the key concern for all the peoples if you install the solar system. Actually, as I mentioned in my presentation, HY2000 Plus is designed with only 22 startup voltage, also at the same time less than 60 volt DC input. For the solar module, normally the VOC is less than 50, because the HY2000 Plus is module level design for MPPT, also for the monitoring. So all the solar panels were connected with the microinverter in parallel, also to the grid in parallel. So there is no DC voltage higher than our maximum DC input design, 60 volt. So it's pretty safe to cause high voltage DC drawing arc. That's the key issue for all the microinverters, I think, regarding the safety compared with the traditional solar inverters. Yeah.
Okay. This one seems to be popular. People are really basically asking how much of a lead do you think you have over rivals in this sector, you know, in regards to the power density of the microinverter?
Yeah, sure. There's also a good question to compare with others or other rivals. Actually, we're happy to get more, more counterparts in the history, because as we think the microinverter players in the market is still very few. So as we know, there are some major microinverter brands in the market. Some brands specialize in single unit, and some brands specialize in 2-in-1 mainly, and some brands specialize in 4-in-1. Compared to all of these players, regarding the single unit player, obviously for 1 unit for the player, the output power only 290 as we calculated. Yeah, so for the 2-in-1, regarding the 2-in-1 major player in the market, for 600 watt microinverter, the weight, as they claimed, is 2.4 kg. So each kilogram, the output power only about 240, 250, something like that, or a little bit more. Yeah. So for the 4-in-1 player in the market, the biggest as we can find is 1500 watt output, and the lightest weight we can find in the market is 3.75. So if we divide it by these two figures, it's about 400, less than 450 watt per kilogram. So compared with the HY2000 Plus, as we calculated, is 554. So there is no other rivals at this moment can compare with these figures.
Okay, Andy. No, I do understand that. Thank you. Now this crops up. Doesn't matter what product we review here, but people want to understand how your warranties work. You know, why have you've got like a 25-year warranty? So people just want some kind of update on that, I guess.
Sure. So maybe we can explain it by 2 ways. One is the designing way. Another is how it works. So regarding the design, every microinverter, if it is real microinverter, actually, it's designed with IP67, and also inside the microinverter casing, so there are some protection groove, and the groove also not only for the protection IP67 waterproof, also is a protection for the heat sink. So it's kind of performance for the heat sink, and for the performance, because with the simplified design compared with traditional central inverter, in the microinverter casing, there is much less components inside, so the failure points is also getting less. So it's more possible to get more reliable working time during the lifetime of a solar system. And also because of the the traditional solar inverter, usually it will be installed maybe inside the room, right? So normally it's easier to get more heat, and for the microinverter, normally it is installed outside of the room, so the airflow on the rooftop or outside condition is much better. So it's not the case for this. Usually we recommend to install the microinverter under the solar panel. So it's another factor. Yeah.
Okay. Actually, that leads in because there was a couple of people. In fact, various questions, but I think summing up would be, the issue about ease of installation. Is there any problems here that people should be aware of compared to, say, what people currently do with the microinverters from an installation perspective?
Yeah, so compared with the traditional microinverter, also the traditional string inverter, the new design for HY2000 Plus is it's a cable integrated, also AC connectors also integrated. So for the daisy chain design, for each solar inverter, there are two connectors on the left side and right side. One is for the female connector, and another side is male connector. When you install the bigger size for one string of the solar arrays, so you got several microinverters connected with each other, female and male, and on left side and right side. So one by one, it's quite easier for the plug and play installation like this.
Okay, Andy, thank you for that. Looking at the time, just maybe a very quick answer to this one, but how do you tell the difference, of a real microinverter from other inverter types? I think that'll be the last question we could answer. Okay.
This could be the question really important for the microinverter industry, because nobody ask this question, maybe because everybody know the microinverter is coming more popular in the market, but nobody has ever defined what kind of solar inverter is a real microinverter. So as our experiences in the industry, as we think at least the 2 points you would define the microinverter. First, it should be a module level solution, and the second, it should be IP67. There's two key points. So module level solution like module level MPPT make the input voltage low enough. So this is regarding to the safety, and regarding the IP. Also, module level MPPT assures more yields, of course, for solar, every solar string and every solar panel. That's the second. And then when you design with the microinverter for IP67, is a very good protection for the longer lifetime compared with conventional solar solutions. So that's 2 points as we think if we define the microinverter. Yeah.
Okay, Andy, that's really good. Looking at the time, gentlemen, attendees, thank you, Andy, for your presentation and answering those questions. Some of those are quite difficult. That concludes our webinar today. And if you want to follow up with who are you, we've had people on the Q&A trying to help out and lead people on that. But thank you all for attending, and goodbye.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you, everybody.